In this episode, we visit Sanatorio Durán, an abandoned hospital just outside of Cartago in the foothills of the Irázu Volcano. Primarily used for treatment of tuberculosis patients until it closed in 1963, Elsanatorio is rumored to be the most haunted place in Costa Rica. Join us as we wander deep into its decaying hallways, looking for any clues of supernatural activity. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe and hit that like button. Now, let's get into the adventure.
The circus is on the move again. See?
We are going to try to hit up the Elsanatorio, which is on the way to Irázu. Check that out, which is a old tuberculosis hospital. It wasn't a mental hospital, it was a tuberculosis hospital. But it is a travel day. Sadly, we are leaving Puerto Viejo, Talamanca, and headed on our way to near San Jose to Alajuela to a quick stop over on our way back to the Nicoya Peninsula, Santa Teresa. Either way, we're gonna try to include a quick stop on our trip. However, mommy's already talking about the stuff that we have in the car and the dogs, and we can't leave the car unattended, so I'm not quite sure if that is because of the supernatural activity that has been rumored to be witnessed at this location, or if it's just because she's actually really concerned about our stuff. So we're gonna have great attitudes. It's gonna be a great travel day. Everybody has their journals and things to keep them busy on the trip, and we got about 4 hours to our next stop. So glad we left before 8 o'clock, and let's do this.
Rainy day.
Sometimes you just have to go with the flow. Oh!
That's not nice.
You want a real perspective of what happens on a car ride. We made it 1 hour. It's gonna be chilly when we get up here.
Gigi just farted again.
What does it smell like? It's the worst thing ever.
Yeah. It smells worse than Dad's fart. Yeah. It's really bad. It's cold and we still got the windows rolled now.
So this is what happens when we're hungry, tired, and have to go to the bathroom. You just black out. That's it. Body just full shutdown. Just full shutdown. Power conserve. That's the battery conserve mode right there. It's the energy conservation mode. So we just doubled back and went to El Turno, which is a restaurant right here, just about 3 minutes down the road from Sanitorio. We needed to fuel up because everybody was
I had a good nap, you know?
everybody was in
They
power save mode. Everybody passed out. So
We were in low blood sugar mode.
un restaurante más for review. So one more restaurant for review, and we'll be headed to the Sanatorio for a quick tour. It's actually a really cool restaurant. Amazing view.
Wow.
El mirador. Do we need to sit up here? Whoa, check it out. It's like a little view deck here. There's the whip. Touchdown from home. Alright, we just arrived at the Mirador, so this is just the lookout point for the Sanatorio. Nice shot. We are at Sanatorio right now, and we just paid our entrance fee. Listos! Llegamos al Sanatorio, so we are getting ready to go on the self-guided tour right now of the Sanatorio. It only costs $1,500 per person, which is just over $2. Pretty good deal. Mommy had to wait in the car. She happily waited in the car to protect our things and the dogs because she wasn't very excited about the Sanatorio. So we're gonna go see what happens.
Yes, right now we are on the self-guided tour. Elsanatorio, which is an abandoned tuberculosis hospital, and it's pretty creepy. And it's supposed to be one of the most haunted locations here in Costa Rica. So excited to see something.
Look in the ventanas, remember? You lead the way, which way you want to go? The morgue. Look at the signs though, you know where we're at. You know what a morgue is, Keisha?
No.
Yeah. It's where dead people, they put dead people. It's quite eerie, especially when you're away from the tourists and you don't hear nervous laughter. This hospital was erected to house patients who came down with tuberculosis because it's a highly contagious disease. Many people who died here, as you can imagine, and it was selected based on the geography because it was known that the climate here just outside of Cartago on the way to Irázu, which has a higher elevation, is really good for the treatment of these patients, even though they didn't have a specific treatment at that time. And following 1963, when the hospital was decommissioned and their last patient had left, it fell into disrepair, and people came and started doing graffiti here and all kinds of other interesting and nefarious things. So, Sala de Cine. This is the lounge where they watch TV, like this, the TV room. Turista. Kids pavilion, see? Wow. So this is the rooms that the kids would have. So the kids who are sick, they would have these rooms, and this would be the shared bathroom. Las escaleras. Vamos. Sí, vamos a ir a la escalera. The women's pavilion. Okay, Kingston, why don't you tell us about the sightings that people usually see?
Yeah, so there's 3 ghosts. One of the ghosts is like a monk who can be seen through the windows at night. The other one is a man that can be seen in the halls sometimes. Then there's a little girl in a rocking chair.
So there are 3 known apparitions that people say inhabit the Sanatorio. And as legend has it, the monk was actually a monk who was here during the hospital's operation, and he would come to actually help to try to save the children and the people who were residents of the Sanatorio. But who knows? This is all just what they say. Who knows?
What's that?
What's really interesting about the design of the floor layout is it doesn't really make all that much sense. There's kind of rooms that are connected and some that aren't, and just the design and the floor layout doesn't quite make sense. I got like super quiet all of a sudden. And then you have a room with a door that leads to another room that comes back around to another room. Look at that illustration. I wasn't talking about that one. The one behind Kuya.
No.
Place over there, we gotta go see what that is. Weird too, because then there's a lot of people, and then you walk into certain areas, and it just seems like the atmosphere in the entire room is different. Unless it's just empty, there's like a void or something. Not particularly supernatural, but it just feels weird when you walk into one of these rooms. This is the Casa de Medicos. I think that's maybe where the physicians are. What's that sound? It's like a merry-go-round or a swing. It's true Costa Rican fashion. There's really not many instructions or warning signs or anything telling us not to do anything. So, Sanatorio. So that's for a hip hop video right there. That's where you take your photo for the cover.
This is a music video without music, Dad.
Look at that one. Why is this one got concrete blocks in there? Look, all the other rooms are open, and that one has cinder blocks, like closing it in.
What is Punto de Union?
Es muy diferente acá. Oh, wow. Total concreto. Okay, so we just walked in another building. We were getting ready to head out, thinking we saw everything. And there were this whole other set of barracks over here that eerily was just really. Oh! It's like a totally different vibe. Okay, there's no way to get out of there. The door has been sealed. The door has been sealed. It's nasty. Go down this hallway. Where did we go? What's that? All right, so that concludes our tour of the Elsanatorio. So that actually only took about 45 minutes. Totally worth it. It's a little bit off the beaten path. If you're going to Irázu Volcano, which we're not doing, you definitely have to make a stop. You could probably get through a little bit faster, but it's actually worth the stay. Pets are allowed. You're allowed to bring pets, but only in the green areas. We didn't bring ours, which is why Marjorie decided to stay back at the whip, but that's okay. But otherwise, you could definitely spend at least a couple hours hanging out and just checking out the grounds and exploring. There's quite a few things we probably didn't go into, but we, for the most part, went in. What do you guys think?
Some of the areas it was pretty creepy, but some of them there was a lot of people.
Just some quick thoughts about the Sanatorio. Creaky?
It was cool. There's a bunch of dark hallways that you don't even know how far it goes in. You know, fun. There's a bunch of holes. Yeah, it's pretty big, the architecture. Bathrooms were gross.
It wasn't worth the trip?
Yeah. Cool graffiti.
Cool graffiti. Yeah, definitely worth the trip, and it was only like $2.50 a person, so definitely worth it. Thanks again for watching this episode of the Free Range Squad. Now, although Sanatorio Durán was out of our way, we decided to make the stop because we were so intrigued by what we might find. Now, for this trip, Mommy decided to stay behind in the car to watch our things and take care of the dogs, but I think it had something to do with her belief in the supernatural. A place like Sanatorio Durán, that is rumored to be the most haunted place in Costa Rica, might have you a little bit on edge. Now, although we didn't see anything that was particularly considered supernatural, there was definitely an eerie feeling throughout most of the hospital. As you can tell, there was some history there. And what was interesting about this experience was using the haunted nature or rumored haunted nature of this location as a way to engage our kids in learning. Through this, they were able to learn about the hospital, about tuberculosis, this infectious disease, and what people were trying to do to remedy that back in the early days when there was no cure for tuberculosis. Just more proof on our journey that these experiences that we're having are definitely helping to shape our understanding of the world and create some interest in the world around us. Any recommendations I would make? Pack a lunch. Plan to stay for a while. There's some areas where you can eat outside on the lawn while you're picnicking with your animals if you do have them in tow with you. Sanatorio Durán is also an excellent stop if you're planning on going to the Irázu Volcano for the day. It's at the base of the mountain where you can see the mirador on your way up to the Irázu Volcano. So feel free to drop any comments or questions in the comments below and we'll be happy to get to them. But until our next adventure, pura vida.